joining us here at 11. I'm Christine Padawanich. We start tonight with a Portland man sentenced to life in prison for killing a homeless man in 2022. Today, the victim's family shared powerful statements in court. Catherine Cook joining us now with what they said. Catherine.
It was emotional, Christine. The man's family endured a 5-day trial and before that waited 3 years for justice. But even now, they still don't know why the man convicted of murder did it.
He can never be a part of our life ever again. Ever again.
Pain and anger from the family of murder victim Faris Gidey. On Thursday, they addressed his now convicted killer, Rizzo Lucas, in court.
You still breathing. He's not.
This week, a jury found Lucas guilty of second-degree murder and unlawful use of a weapon with a firearm. Judge Heidi Moad sentenced him to life in prison.
So not only have you lost your family member, but you've lost that hope for him to have had a better life in general. And I am so sorry for all of you about that.
At the time of his murder, Gidey had been living in a tent, this one, near the Burnside Bridge. It was April 8th, 2022. Security video shows Gidey standing outside. You can also see Lucas nearby wearing a mask and carrying a backpack. He watched Gidey for several minutes before walking up and shooting him point blank in the neck. Deputy DA Christopher Shull credited witnesses and quick police work for building the case.
They found Rizzo Lucas and arrested him within minutes, and that made a very strong case. He was wearing all the same clothing that we see in video of that shooting.
Gidey's family said they'd hoped Lucas would take accountability during sentencing. Instead, he sat silently.
He's a coward, and that's what cowards do. They don't speak.
While family members are thankful justice was served, Gidey's mom says nothing changes their painful reality.
My son is gone, and I know this is not going to bring my son back.
Lucas will get a chance at parole after 25 years. This week, a jury acquitted him in the murder of Jennifer Drain, a homeless woman he was accused of killing the day before Gidey's murder. But prosecutors only had circumstantial evidence. Even so, the judge allowed Drain's family to speak today at Lucas's sentencing, but their words were off the record. Christine.
Yeah, difficult day for the families involved. Thank you, Catherine. Tonight, we're also continuing to track the impact of this week's atmospheric rivers and heavy rain in Washington. As some people return to their homes, many more are preparing to leave their homes. In northwestern Washington, as many as 100,000 people may need to evacuate in the coming days due to the widespread flooding. The worst of it is in Skagit County, north of Seattle, where the Skagit River could see its highest levels in modern history. Closer to our area, in Lewis County, more than a dozen people spent last night at a Red Cross shelter set up at St. John's Lutheran Church. One evacuee talked about what she saw before heading to the shelter.
I turned around the corner, it was just looked like a lake, basically, and everybody was just kind of carrying all their stuff out, and some people were getting mad and crying, and there's a lot of animals that were like in distress and everything.
Today, they got to return home. During a press conference, Washington Governor Bob Ferguson said he's working closely with FEMA to try and approve a disaster declaration for the state. Meantime, in the community of Satsep on the Olympic Peninsula, a family is grateful for Good Samaritans whose actions may have saved their lives. A woman and her sister's 3 kids were headed to a laser light show. They didn't see any road closed signs and thought they could make it through the floodwaters of the rising Chehalis River. But their car shut down and they had to wade into the water to find help.
Giovanni's carrying Liliana. Me and Gabriel are walking towards a truck that I don't know who's in there. I'm just hoping that it's a good person, and thankfully it was an amazing person. And he just opened his doors, let us in, didn't even ask us any questions, and just started taking us back to where, to where there was dry land.
Such a scary moment. Turns out the road had been closed, but apparently the signs washed away in the floodwaters. While they're understandably shaken, the family was not hurt. Really scary situation. Glad they're okay, though. Chief Meteorologist Matt Safino here now with a first look at your weather impact forecast. Matt, what are you tracking?
Well, the rain is really broken up even in northern Washington, which is great. This is what you want to see. We'd love to see absolutely nothing on radar, but this is a close second. There's really not much. A little bit over the North Cascades, not much in the northern counties, Whatcom County, Skagit County, not seeing any rain at all right now. So that's good that the rain is lightened up. 48-hour rainfall totals, almost nothing here in the metro area, but you go north and look at that, about an inch in Kelso and a couple inches on the coast of Washington. So it still has been raining to the north. Then the flood watches continue for all the northern counties in Washington. There's even a flash flood watch out downstream from the town of Sedro-Woolley on the Skagit River because they're worried about dams and levees failing. And if they do, they will see rapid rises on the rivers, of course, downstream. As we go down towards Portland, no flood watches close to us until you get over to Skamania County, but there is a flood warning still on the Cowlitz River up by Longview. That is expected to stay above flood stage until sometime this weekend. We're keeping close tabs on that. In Oregon, the only river that still has a flood warning is the lazy, slow-flowing Pudding River, which is east of Aurora, basically, eventually merges with the Molalla River. There's a flood warning there. That's a very slow-draining water. It doesn't have a lot of change in altitude there, so it just drains really, really slowly. This is barely above flood stage. Here's what we're dealing with the next couple days. Morning fog, but dry. Friday and Saturday, they'll stay mainly dry in western Washington as well until Sunday. But then we get another round of rain. For Oregon, I don't think it'll be problematic, but it may be up in Washington. They may get several inches again. And then the other big headline is that snow is returning to the Cascades in some really decent amounts, probably enough to get ski season going before Christmas. Back to you, Christine.
Yeah, that is enough to get people excited just hearing that. Thank you, Matt.
You bet.
Okay, let's get you caught up on tonight's other headlines. A grand jury has cleared a Clackamas County Sheriff's deputy of any wrongdoing after shooting a man in early November. Investigators say the deputy was called to a home where a man who was reportedly intoxicated with possible mental health issues had set a trailer on fire. As she exited her car, the suspect, 44-year-old Daniel Zimmerman, allegedly sprinted at her, ignored commands to stop, then put his hand behind his back. That's when the deputy fired a single shot. Zimmerman was treated at the hospital. His trial is set for January. Oregon Attorney General Dan Rayfield and a coalition of 20 states are claiming victory over the Trump administration tonight after the government tried to shut down a disaster preparedness program. The coalition sued after the Trump administration said it would halt billions in grants meant to strengthen infrastructure against natural disasters, calling the program wasteful and ineffective. The court ruled the president had no authority to refuse to spend the money that Congress already approved. And effective immediately, Multnomah County is banning semi-trucks from using the Stark Street Bridge after another crash in October. You may recall a truck slammed into the concrete wall, crumpling the pedestrian bridge fence and launching a chunk of stone onto the sandy riverbank. Now, commercial trucks over 19 tons are banned from turning onto the bridge from the historic Columbia River Highway. The restriction will stay in place until the 110-year-old bridge is replaced. Tonight, an airline sued after allegedly allowing a drunk man to board a flight. He's then accused of sexually assaulting a Portland woman before the plane even took off. Alma McCarty joins us now with the details after speaking with her attorney this evening. Alma.
Christine, it is a troubling story to say the least. Back in December of last year, the victim at a small airport dealing with a flight delay, she noticed a man at the airport bar drinking heavily, and according to court documents, it only escalated from there.
Last December, inside the Springfield, Missouri airport, passengers passed the time during a flight delay, including a Portland woman making her way back to the Rose City.
There was one small bar restaurant where all the passengers were hanging out. This one passenger was pounding down beers and chasing those with shots. When he said something inappropriate to our client, she left.
Mark Lindquist, the woman's attorney, says that man went on to cause more problems after he was allowed to board the American Airlines flight.
Just by bad luck, he was the person right next to her assigned seat.
Court documents detail how the man said something like, "This is my lucky day." The woman put on her music and tried to ignore him.
Once the plane started taking off, he started grabbing her and groping her, and she yelled for a flight attendant. At first, the flight attendant was, ma'am, you've got to stay in your seat. But then the flight attendant realized what was happening and moved her to a different seat.
The captain reported the incident to local police. Touching down in Dallas, the victim and a flight attendant, who the man also allegedly assaulted, spoke with investigators. The lawsuit references a police report in which the intoxicated man admitted not only to drinking, but mixing alcohol with prescription drugs.
It's our understanding the defendant has been charged.
And now, a year later, the victim is suing not only her alleged attacker, but American Airlines and SkyWest Airlines as well.
Our client wants accountability and also wants to make sure that this doesn't happen to other people on airplanes. She wants to see airlines follow the rules and keep flights safe and keep drunks off.
And Christine, we've reached out to both American Airlines and SkyWest for a statement on this lawsuit. A spokesman for American told us the safety of our customers and team members is our highest priority. We are reviewing the complaint. Back to you.
Appreciate your reporting on this, Alma. Thank you.